The drama surrounding Ja Morant didn't erupt from a press conference or a controversial quote. It unfolded in silence, in a single image that spread across the internet faster than any headline could keep up with. On a night that was supposed to be about playoff intensity, about rising stars and postseason pressure, the cameras caught something else entirely. There he was, one of the most electrifying talents of his generation, sitting courtside like any other spectator. No jersey, no urgency, no spotlight tied to performance. Just a face in the crowd, watching the kind of games he was once expected to dominate. And miles away, at that exact same moment, LeBron James was doing what he has done for over 2 decades. Not watching, not waiting, competing. At 41 years old, deep into a career that has already shattered expectations and rewritten the limits of longevity, LeBron was leading a playoff series, dictating tempo, controlling outcomes, and reminding everyone that greatness does not fade quietly. It endures, adapts, and, in moments like these, draws a contrast so sharp it barely needs words. That contrast became the story, not because LeBron said anything, but because he didn't have to. The visual alone carried enough weight to spark debate, frustration, and reflection. On one side, a player in his prime years, once heralded as the future of the league, reduced to watching from the stands. On the other, a legend in what should have been the twilight of his career, still driving a team forward in the most meaningful games of the season. Not long ago, Ja Morant was the embodiment of everything the modern NBA celebrated. Speed, explosiveness, fearlessness. He attacked the rim like gravity didn't apply to him, turning routine possessions into highlight reels. He wasn't just a star, he was a phenomenon. A 2-time All-Star before turning 24, a most improved player, and the centerpiece of a Memphis team that looked ready to contend for years. The comparisons to LeBron weren't whispers. They were loud, constant, and, at times, believable. But trajectories in sports are fragile. They bend under pressure, break under missteps, and sometimes collapse under a combination of both. Injuries began to chip away at Morant's availability. Suspensions cast shadows over his reputation. And slowly, the rhythm that once defined his game started to fade. The numbers told part of the story. A dip in scoring efficiency, fewer games played, and a noticeable decline in the dominance that once felt inevitable. But the deeper story was harder to quantify. It was about momentum lost, about a career that had paused when it was supposed to accelerate. The 2025-26 season was meant to be the reset, a clean slate, a chance to remind the league who Ja Morant really was. Instead, it became another chapter of setbacks. Injuries returned, consistency disappeared, and the Memphis Grizzlies, once built around him as their cornerstone, began to unravel. Key pieces were traded. The roster that once symbolized hope was dismantled piece by piece, and suddenly Morant wasn't leading a contender. He was standing in the middle of a rebuild, uncertain of where he fit in a future that no longer felt secure. That uncertainty extended beyond the court. Trade rumors swirled, not as speculation but as serious organizational consideration. The idea that Memphis would move on from its franchise player would have seemed unthinkable just a few years earlier. Now, it felt like a possibility. And perhaps more telling than the rumors themselves was the silence from the rest of the league. Interest existed, but not at the level one would expect for a player of Morant's talent. Concerns about durability, consistency, and long-term commitment created hesitation. The market, once expected to be overwhelming, was unexpectedly quiet. Meanwhile, LeBron James continued to build his legacy in real time. Every game added another layer, another reminder, that what he is doing at this stage of his career isn't just impressive, it's unprecedented. Leading a playoff team without key teammates, orchestrating offense, making history alongside his son, and delivering performances that players half his age struggle to match. Even his off nights carry weight, because they still happen within the context of competition, within the grind of meaningful basketball. And that is where the contrast becomes almost impossible to ignore. It isn't about mocking in the traditional sense. There were no direct words, no public criticism, no overt gestures. The mockery, if it can be called that, exists in the gap between expectation and reality, between what Ja Morant was supposed to become and what LeBron James continues to be. One represents potential interrupted, the other represents greatness sustained. Yet, beneath the surface, there is another layer to this story that often gets lost in the noise. That image of Morant in the stands wasn't just about absence, it was also about loyalty. He wasn't there by accident. He was there to support a former teammate, someone he shared years of battles, practices, and dreams with. In a league defined by movement and business decisions, moments like that still matter. They remind us that beyond contracts and narratives, there are relationships that endure, but even that context couldn't fully shield him from the reaction. Because in sports, optics matter, and the optics of a 26-year-old star watching playoff basketball while a 41-year-old legend dominates it are difficult to reconcile. They force questions that don't have easy answers, about work, about resilience, about the unpredictable nature of careers that can change direction in an instant. For Morant, the road forward is uncertain but not closed. Talent like his doesn't disappear. It evolves, adapts, and, in the right circumstances, resurfaces stronger than before. A healthy offseason, a renewed focus, and perhaps a change of environment could shift the narrative once again. The league has seen comebacks before. It has seen players fall and rise again. The question is whether Morant can rediscover not just his game, but the joy that once made him unstoppable. Because in the end, that might be the most important piece of all. Not the comparisons, not the expectations, not even the criticism. Just the love for the game that fuels everything else. Without it, even the most gifted players can feel lost. With it, even the steepest declines can be reversed. And as this story continues to unfold, one image will likely remain etched in memory. A young star in the stands, a veteran legend on the court, two careers moving in opposite directions, at least for now. One defined by questions, the other by answers that keep coming year after year. So what do you think happens next? Can Ja Morant reclaim his place among the league's elite, or has the window already begun to close? And how much longer can LeBron James keep defying time and redefining greatness? Share your thoughts below, and if you enjoy deep, story-driven breakdowns like this, make sure to like the video and subscribe for more content that goes beyond the headlines and into the heart of the game.